Well, that is a beautiful 99K. And yes, it's the same 99K that Maria sent me from California. And it got bumped around quite a bit. She had packed it as best as she was able, but the materials she used just didn't hold together very well. And we had things bent and misaligned and everything under the sun. So she is ready to head home and go back to work for Maria. And she is one powerful, mighty might of a machine. You know what? It's so cool to get a machine back to where it needs to be. And this machine that, believe it or not, as you're looking through the camera at it, and I'll zoom in even a little bit closer, as you're looking at that machine, do you believe that that thing was born on August 1st, 1956? You do the math. This is 2018. That machine has been around a long time, and yet after, just a modest amount of aesthetic type restoration, not a whole lot, Maria was mainly wanting to make sure that the machine was up to par, safe to use. She had some concerns about wiring, and so I did look at the wiring very carefully, the motor, the foot control, and everything else, and it is absolutely good to go now. A couple things had to be tweaked. But you know what? It's just a spectacular machine. And again, I've said this in other videos, the 99 and 99K are fantastically powerful machines and even smaller in overall length than the Singer Featherweight 221. I'll say it again. The 99 and the 99K are shorter in overall length than the Singer 221, the very coveted featherweight. And those are some bragging rights. Yeah, it's slightly heavier, but you know what? When it comes to compact and still the potential to have that portability, you're hard-pressed to beat the 99 or the 99K. They're just a phenomenal machine. And I won't go over the threading in detail. The threading is pretty straightforward on this machine, but I will tell you two things. Make sure that when you set this machine up, if you have one at home, that the flat side of that needle goes to the right, and then you're going to be threading from left to right. Okay? Again, flat side to the right, you're threading this machine from left to right. And all in all, it's a great machine, has a drop-in bobbin, and the threading again is quite straightforward when it comes. Just as long as you remember to get that thread through the thread guide and feed across the faceplate. That's about it. That's the only tricky thing potentially about this machine. And I've got this down here because I battled this doggone clutch for a while, only to find out that it was the wrong clutch for this machine. And the other thing, I noticed it straight away, is that Maria had the wrong bobbin in the bobbin case as well. This is a class 15, and that's obviously not the correct bobbin for this machine. So all in all, not a horrible restoration, although had some challenges. Even with this upper tension gave me a little bit of a hassle as well. And but you know what? That's what it's all about, is getting it right and not cutting corners. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in a little bit on the needle. I hope I don't run out of memory on the card or run into any issues with batteries today. Wouldn't that be nice? All right, I'm going to flip my screen around. Hopefully I'll be able to see what you all are seeing. And we'll just do a couple of confirmation stitch offs with this amazing 1956 99K. And I just have to make one quick adjustment here. There we go. All right. So the first thing we're going to stitch off on, and I'm going to make one other adjustment. Bear with me for a second here. I've got a different riser as far as my foot control because my bench sits so high, and it sometimes creates a little bit of a challenge in getting that foot control comfortable so I can actually get my foot on it, which might be helpful when you're trying to do sew-offs. So, all right, the first thing we're going to do, and it's not a huge challenge to this machine, is we're going to do heavy grade denim. I'm going to do only 4 layers of this stuff. You can see we're starting with 2. I'm going to go ahead and fold it in half, and that'll get us up to a total of 4 layers of heavy grade denim. Again, I don't know exactly what Maria is going to be sewing mostly. But most folks at one time or another, and I've said this in other videos, are going to have to sew off on denim, either for repairs or other types of things like that. So I think it's fair to say that at some point this machine will probably sew denim again. So, all right, 4 layers of heavy grade denim. Let's see how this little Mighty Mite does with this task. Here we go. Oh, and one thing I better do real quick is I better get that take-up arm all the way up. Again, if you run into problems with your machine starting kind of slugging out on you, it sometimes can be an indication that your take-up arm is not in the highest position. It's a simple fix, but it has huge ramifications. So, all right, 4 layers of heavy grade denim. Here we go. Does that run quiet or what? I believe Maria has mounts on the back of here, so she must have this set up and mounted in a table at home. So I had to go through my my modification here in order to get this nice and stable so that I could stitch off with it, because I am not going to mount it in a table just for stitch offs. That would be kind of crazy, wouldn't it? Okay, so let me bring in my light a little bit. I'll try to bring my other light in as well and really get some good light on these stitches. Those are absolutely drop dead gorgeous stitches. The spacing, the formation, everything about those stitches is absolutely spot on. And if we turn it over, we've got an equally gorgeous lock-in stitch as well. Again, not a simple task. You know, we're talking 4 layers of heavy grade denim, and you just witnessed it yourself. This 99K just went right through it with no challenge whatsoever. And again, those are in these samples will obviously go to Maria when I ship the machine, as I always do. And I'm telling you one thing, if you could see these up close like I am right now, drop dead gorgeous stitches in every respect. And you know what, when it comes to stitch quality, you can try to go through practically anything, but what's the point unless you can get a stitch quality of this caliber? So this definitely gets a pass from me as far as the heavy grade denim. The next thing I want to stitch off with Maria's machine is some of this US Army grade canvas. This stuff is not an easy task to go through, and I've got it right now folded like this with just 2 layers. That's not going to be enough to challenge this machine, and I want to do a nice long run on this one so that you can hear that motor running. So I'm going to try to fold this as carefully as I can to get 4 layers of heavy grade US Army canvas, and then we'll roll down this one as well. So follow me down to the needle, and here we go. We're going to go ahead and stitch off 4 layers of US Army grade canvas. All right, let's rock and roll. Here we go. I have to really hold this machine back. That machine motor, obviously I went through that motor very carefully, and always obviously you're going to replace the motor brushes. And after I went through that restorative process with that motor, holy mackerel, that thing was like roaring to life compared to what it was when I first got it on the workbench. So I'm going to try to turn this in a way that hopefully you can see it through the camera okay. Having a little bit of trouble seeing my little screen today, but rest assured, those stitches from top to bottom are absolutely spectacular. The spacing, the formation. Again, we just went through 4 layers of US Army grade canvas, and there wasn't even a sign or an inkling that it was struggling in any way. And this is our lock-in stitch. Again, just like the top stitch, it's absolutely spectacular. I see my canvas is a little bit dirty, but that didn't slow this machine down either. So again, we went all the way down. You can see it from here all the way down. If I can line it up here, there we go. That's a little bit better. And maybe I should zoom in on these when we get done as well, but that definitely 4 layers of US Army grade canvas. definitely gets a pass as well. So I'm going to throw this to the side also. And then what I wanted to do, and again, I'm not sure exactly what Maria is going to be sewing off on. So it would be absolutely a waste if we didn't put this machine to the test with some of this great full grain leather. This is actually incredibly thick stuff. There's nothing lightweight about this stuff at all. And I'm going to just quickly cut off a strip so we can rattle down it. I didn't do that in advance, and I don't want to waste material, obviously. So I'm just going to cut down this real quick. We'll get a nice long run on it. Yeah, this stuff is, holy mackerel, that's like putting my scissors to the test, because that is incredibly dense stuff when it comes to the leather quality and such. And I can already hear you in the background, Scott, come on, man. Let's do 2 layers. Okay, let's do 2 layers then. Because you know what? I don't want to insult this great machine. I really don't. And when it comes to this 99K after it's been on my workbench, I think 1 layer probably would be an insult. So look at it now from the side. We're looking at probably 8 to 10 ounces of full grain leather. Here we go. Keep your fingers crossed. Hopefully I haven't bit off more than I can chew, but I think we'll be just absolutely fine. And this machine is just incredibly powerful. Again, it's going to have a lot bigger motor strength than the Singer Featherweight, and yet the compactness of it says everything. I mean, you can look at it. It's a tiny little tot, and yet it's got a huge punch. Okay, so here we go. 2 heavy grade pieces of full grain leather, and I'm going to go ahead and throttle her up a little bit. Hopefully we can get through this without any hesitation. Here we go. Well, other than getting my foot on the foot control, I think we did pretty well with that one. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and give this a quick clip. Come on. Like I said, I don't have this riser quite figured out yet as far as getting the right foot position on there and being able to do it justice. You know what? That's absolutely spectacular. It's going to be a little bit hard to see just because of the red against the light tan, but the spacing, the formation, everything about it is absolutely spot on. And if I do it like this, you can see what we just went through. Nothing lightweight, about 8 to 10 ounces of full grain leather. And that's with this little guy right here. And this is a belt driven machine, so you know there's a potential for running into issues when you sew at this level with a machine like this, because you don't have the benefit of that direct drive like the 201 and the 1591, and a number of the 300 and the 400 series Singers as well have that direct worm gear coming off of the motor driving right to that shaft. And yet this machine, other than me getting the right foot position on the foot control, did a phenomenal job. So that gets my stamp of approval as well. You know what? It's just amazing to me what a machine like this, and I'm going to go ahead and zoom out a little bit, what a machine like this is capable of doing when it's properly restored and serviced. You know, a lot of people would look at a smaller machine like this and they would underestimate what its capabilities are, but you know better by now. You already know once a machine like this has gone through the restorative process on my workbench, it's almost like it's supercharged. It's like it's superhuman in a mechanical sense as far as what it can accomplish. So Maria, I think you're going to love this machine. You're going to be able to have the confidence now that I've gone through it and checked the wiring and the motor and the foot control, and went through and did a number of other things to it just to spruce it up a little bit for you. And you're going to have a lot of fun out in California this summer doing some heavy grade sewing or light grade, totally up to you. So I want to thank all of you for being loyal subscribers. Thanks so much for following me, and also going to the Facebook business page. If you're not a Facebooker, you know, try to transition over because you miss a lot. I do a lot of fun posts, unique photos. There's a lot of neat conversations and dialogues as well on Facebook that I can, readily put up there for all of you, where it's a little bit more cumbersome to do it on YouTube. So, at any rate, here goes an amazing 99K heading west. So stay tuned for the next machine. It should be a 1591 that is going to be heading out very, very soon, hopefully. All right, thanks so much for staying tuned.